Virtual contrast supervision is now a permanent part of healthcare, a change finalized by CMS for 2026. But this shift exposes a massive threat. Your facility is now directly liable for the security practices of your third-party vendors. Many teams amplify this risk using tools like Zoom or FaceTime, which are fundamentally non-compliant for this work. And with the HITECH Act, liability for that breach doesn't stop with you. It falls directly on your vendors too. In the next few minutes, we'll break down the security and vendor management framework you need to protect your entire operation. Your first line of defense is the Business Associate Agreement. A BAA is not an NDA, it's a federal contract enforcing HIPAA on your vendor. Every virtual supervision session handles protected health information, or PHI. This legally binds your vendor to HIPAA's technical standards. First, all video and audio data must be protected with end-to-end encryption, both in transit and at rest. Second, platform access must be restricted with multi-factor authentication and strict role-based permissions. Third, the system requires regular security checks and must keep detailed audit logs of all access and user activity. But if a vendor's technology checks these boxes, where is the real danger? The answer was defined by the HITECH Act. The HITECH Act fundamentally altered the landscape by making your vendors, your business associates, directly liable for FI security breaches. This means they are legally bound to meet the exact same compliance standards as you are. There is no lower bar for a third-party vendor. When auditors arrive, they don't just inspect your internal policies. They scrutinize vendor risk assessments, training logs, and their boss. Think back to that liability shift. HITECH is what gives it weight, turning a vendor's error into your shared compliance failure. So, understanding the law, what are the actual, real-world consequences when a vendor's security fails? The consequences are severe. Radiology practices have faced enormous breaches affecting millions of patients from a single vendor vulnerability. This reveals a common pitfall. Assuming any remote connection is secure, CMS has specific standards that general platforms fail to meet. Beyond active sessions, an even greater risk is data management. Your vendor is likely holding session logs, timestamps, and identities. Federal rules mandate these records be kept for at least 6 years. At contract end, this data must be securely and formally transferred back to you. This forces a vital contract question: who owns the data? If the vendor does, you could lose access to your own compliance records. Your vendor contract is more than a service agreement. It is a critical compliance document defining data handling and ownership. But what if you have a perfect contract with a great vendor? Are you fully protected? Not if you've missed the subcontractor chain. A frequently overlooked requirement is that any subcontractor your vendor uses who touches FI needs their own, separate BAA with that vendor. Even with a perfect BAA chain, human error remains a top cause of HIPAA violations, making comprehensive staff training non-negotiable. Another major complication is poor documentation. Failing to log how and when supervision occurred is a massive red flag for auditors. We have covered the legal, technical, and human risks. So, how do we build a strategy that addresses all of them? Let's connect two ideas: non-compliant tools like Zoom and audit red flags. A purpose-built platform solves both with automated documentation. Now, link HITECH's vendor liability with the data ownership issue. This shows your BAA is your primary tool against third-party threats. True compliance isn't a product you purchase. It is a framework you construct from legal diligence, technical safeguards, and operational training. The pillars are: 1. Exhaustive vendor vetting, 2. Airtight BOSS covering subcontractors and data, and 3. Total training on an auditable platform. Virtual contrast supervision is here to stay. Its safe implementation depends entirely on how well you manage your vendor relationships. Your biggest security threat isn't just your firewall. It's the unmitigated risk of a data breach beginning outside your organization with a vendor. Protect your practice with 3 key actions: vet your vendors rigorously, execute complete BOSS, and deploy purpose-built technology. Do not just adopt remote capabilities, implement a full security and compliance strategy. Start today by auditing your vendor agreements.